This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com, and I'm live in Montreal, in the ghetto here, with two-time and longest-reigning Canadian champion Jeremy Prophet, who's getting the Hannibal TV Heavyweight Title shot against current champion, the Prodigy Nathan Banner, August 10th in Petawawa in the Ottawa Valley. The winner of that faces Davey Boy Smith Jr. with the title on the line October 20th in Ottawa. And we also have Jessika Black, who is holding the Women's Championship of Canada, but officially that title has been vacated. She is wrestling Melanie Havoc to find out who's going to be the new Women's Champion of Canada, August 10th in Petawawa. Lady Yasmine is going to be refereeing the Petawawa Women's Championship match. So what are your guys' thoughts on your matches in Petawawa?
You can go first on that one if you want.
Well, like I've said before, you guys paying a lot of money to see some good competitive matches, but in Petawawa against Melanie Havoc, I respect that she has the courage to step up to me. But it's going to be pretty one-sided.
And as for my match, I mean, I've had Nathan Banner's number since day one. There's nothing that he can do in there that's going to surprise me. And last time he had to put his hands on an official to find a way out of a match that he was already about to lose. I mean, I had him in a submission. He was crying like a baby. And it's pretty much going to be just a much more condensed version of the same thing, because there's literally nothing he can do to me in there that is going to cause any kind of duress and lead to any kind of a victory for him. Even here he wants to choose a stipulation. I'm more than open to that. I can beat him at any kind of match he wants to do. Cage match, chain match, street fight. Any match you want, Banner. Ain't going to bother me.
And Nidef on here is asking who each of your favorite wrestlers is.
I can go first. I mean, first wrestler I ever saw.
Hannibal, I know that.
Toughest opponent, maybe, but first wrestler I ever saw was Bret the Hitman Hart. It was Bret Hart versus Blake Beverly on Maple Leaf Wrestling. I must have been about 4 or 5 years old, and Bret's always been one of my favorites, so it's a pretty easy one for me to answer.
For me, I have two answers. My first favorite wrestler that I really chose to follow around was Mick Foley. And then as I grew a bit older and I went back to look some old tapes, I really started enjoying a lot of Alundra Blaze's stuff in WWE at first.
Greg Valentine's ex-girlfriend, Alundra Blaze, for those that don't know. And someone is asking, Josh is his name, is asking your thoughts on the Road Warriors.
I never had the chance to see the Road Warriors. I did see Animal a few years ago when he came in for GNW. Thought they were a great team for their time. A lot of innovative power wrestling things that they like to do, and obviously the look, it's iconic. It's copied time and time again. I saw recently Villain Enterprise did a tribute to them for Ring of Honor, so definitely, you know, the look, revolutionary for its time, and the team, yeah, great for their time as well.
I think for me, same thing. I remember being like 5 years old with my dad watching it, watching them, and undeniable that their look really was, that's what you watched it for. You watched it for seeing them walk to the ring and do what they did.
Speaking of Villain Enterprises, PCO, former Great North Wrestling Canadian champion, is part of that group. You wrestled him in one of his first comeback matches in Great North Wrestling, which he has admitted he was scouted out of the Hannibal TV posted matches. What are your thoughts on him getting supposedly a 6-figure contract with Ring of Honor?
I think that it's tremendous that he got that, and he's definitely deserving of it. Believe it or not, that match we did in Great North Wrestling was the first time we had ever been in a ring with each other, and you know, he's great. It's almost unbelievable when you think about the fact that he's 50 years old or more, competing with some of the best in the world. And they say PCO is not human, and it's become a very popular catchphrase, but seeing some of the stuff that he's able to withstand, getting power bombed out of balconies, thrown out of the ring, just taking all kinds of abuse, it's almost unheard of for someone of that age to be able to take that and to keep coming back. So, you know, I'm glad to hear that he's doing well. And, you know, hey, if he ever wants to drop a little line about the guy who worked with him, helped him get scouted, you know, Ring of Honor, I think they got a top-notch product, and I think that Jeremy Prophet could definitely add a lot of pizzazz to what they have.
And Ryan Golding on here is asking, what motivates each of you in wrestling?
Well, what motivates me is I enjoy proving that I'm dominant.
Go on and be honest with them. Tell them it's the money.
Well, I enjoy proving that I'm dominant and getting paid for it, obviously. But you know what? It's you need to be strong to be in this sport. You need to be tough, and I enjoy getting rid of all these little girls trying to pretend to be women, trying to pretend wrestling, or pretend I don't know what, and really bringing back the fight and the toughness into the women's division in Canada.
As for me, I mean, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. Wrestling is everything I've ever wanted to do. I get to go in, beat people up, entertain. It's really, there's nothing else like it. It's like getting to be a rock star and an athlete at the same time. And that's what I love about it. There's really nothing else I'd rather be doing.
Funny question, why aren't we all watching the Raw reunion?
Oh!
Only 2 million people in the States watch it, and that's on a good night, so I don't blame them for tuning into some alternative content.
Sid's going to be on that, who we all love here from Great North Wrestling. Someone else is asking for you two, if you had the choice between WWE or AEW now, which company would each of you choose?
That's a good question. I'll let you go first on that one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm part of those 2 million. Not always live, but I still watch WWE, and I've watched all the AEW events that they've done so far. I think WWE right now, a little oversaturated. There's a lot of talent that they're gobbling up. A lot of it they're just kind of keeping just so that it doesn't go to the competition and develop into something that can make money. So, I've been a little bit bitter on WWE for a long time. So I'd actually say, yeah, I'd be welcome to the opportunity to go to AEW or any other alternative. I mean, I know a lot of people that are performing there. I've rubbed shoulders with them, been on shows with them. Same goes for WWE too, don't get me wrong. But I think I'm the kind of person who'd like to have a platform with a good amount of creativity to showcase my ability to be profitable for an enterprise like a WWE. And I just don't think going in there without the, I don't want to say indie credit, but I mean without having performed for larger independent organizations, I would be able to go in and kick down the door and be able to show them exactly who I am and what I'm worth.
I think I like what he said about just getting to AEW and showing what you can do, but more than that, I think there's a lot of women on that roster that I'd like to go up against, a lot of the Japanese girls, and just to really show what I can do before getting to WWE and getting in that cycle, like really showing that I'm a tough girl and I can hang with the best of them.
Now, this is a question for Jeremy. You've obviously wrestled Scott Steiner 3 times at Great North Wrestling. All those matches are on the Hannibal TV for anyone that wants to check them out, but you've wrestled Scott Steiner 3 times. Would you tell him to his face that the Frankensteiner is a Hurricanrana?
No, I think it's a Frankensteiner, actually, and he has every right to say that. Yeah, the Hurricanrana, that's what they call it in Mexico. Maybe it's existed there longer, but to fans in North America, most likely the person even asking this question, it's a Frankensteiner. He innovated it here. I can't think of one person that would have done that maneuver before Scott Steiner, so he has every right to claim the name of it. And would I tell him to his face? If you paid me the right price, I would. I'm not scared of Scott. I respect him, but it wouldn't be my opinion. I'll put it that way.
And Benjamin Dead Moon is also asking...
Great name.
Yeah, why do you look so pissed off right now?
I wouldn't say I'm pissed off. This is how I look. Sometimes some people call this pissed off. Sometimes people call this looking good.
Stephen Curtis has a question for both of you guys. Why is there a disproper high number of top-notch wrestlers from Canada, such as all 3 of us?
I can field that one too. I mean, look, we got border issues we got to deal with. So that's the first hurdle that any of us have to overcome. That's why you don't hear about me on the American independent scene, because it's not easy for us in Canada. And especially if this is someone who is a fan from the United States, it's going to be harder to get access to our content. Now, that's why it's great that we have a platform like the Hannibal TV, more subscribers, if I'm not mistaken, than any other wrestling channel in all of Canada. So someone on the back end is doing a hell of a job of getting our name out there. But when it comes down to it, we don't have the same level of exposure in Canada, and we're not accorded the same type of opportunities as independent performers or independent contractors, as they say, to be able to take our craft over the border. I wish it were different, and believe me, there's no doubt in my mind I'd be in a much better place in the world of wrestling if that were the case. But that's the biggest hurdle any of us have to overcome.
I think, though, I'm not sure if I understood properly, but I think he's asking why Canadians are so good. And I'm going with, we're hardworking people. We don't, no, I'm sorry, but we come from the great white north, and we're here and we work hard. We don't just go and worry about how we look and how all those things are. We're training hard. We're here to fight, to wrestle, to show off that we can hang with any American, any other person from any other country.
Well, in a lot of ways, we have to work twice as hard because, like I said, the opportunities aren't there for us as much. Let's face it, if we're going to get a spot, like I just, lobbied to maybe get a spot somewhere in like a Ring of Honor or whatnot, I would have to be twice as good as their worst guy at the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. Because, that's someone from out of country taking a job away from them. Very sensitive topic right now in the United States. So
and they'd have to pay for a work visa too, which is about $3,000 from what I understand.
I'd pay that out of my pocket. That's fine. But when it comes down to it, you really got to be twice as good. Like I've always said, and maybe it sounds a little conceited, but I've always said here in Quebec wrestling, I'm kind of the Jackie Robinson of Quebec wrestling because French is not my first language, and I don't exactly look like everyone you see in Quebec. So I wasn't accorded all the same liberties and red carpets that are rolled out. So that's kind of why Jeremy Prophet is the way Jeremy Prophet is, because I have to be this way and I have to be twice as good, just to be able to get noticed, just be able to get screen time
Maybe
on
that
the Hannibal
answers
TV.
why he was so angry from before.
I don't hate the player, hate the game.
And speaking of Canadians in WWE, we're not going to mention their names, but I do have confirmation that two Great North Wrestling wrestlers, who both of you have wrestled, are getting WWE tryouts next month at their 3-day Canadian camp here, so that should be interesting. But there's someone on here asking both of you guys if you could wrestle anyone that's active right now, who would it be for each of you?
On the Indies or in WWE or anywhere? There's a lot of people actually. There's a lot of people that I like to get my hands on to just prove that in Canada we are tough. I don't want to start name dropping people because I don't want to call people out. But anyone in TNA and ROH, WWE, I'd face any of those guys in a second, any of those girls in a second. There's a lot of people talking a lot of smack, a lot of places thinking that they have a lot of followers, so they think that they're all good because they're really good at social media, but that doesn't mean they're good in the ring. And I'd love to be able to go in there and show that social media is not what makes a good wrestler. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, it's true. If I had to answer that question, I guess the great answer would be to say Brock Lesnar. He's the top of the top, is he not? That's how it goes in other sports. In mixed martial arts, you want to fight the best. You want to fight the person who's the king of the mountain. So that would probably be what would put the most attention on me. Even if going in there against Brock only means that it's going to be 3-4 minutes, hey, that's what's going to put my name in spotlight. But from a wrestler standpoint, I do find it interesting that Matt Taven is the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. Considering that he and I have done battle before, you can actually see that online. Not on the Hannibal TV, but maybe we can get the rights to it and people can see that, because we did do battle in Maine a little while ago, and just seeing him on TV, I'm like, I know I could give that guy a run for his money if he's the top dog in Ring of Honor.
And for each of you, I know Jeremy has a hell of a lot more matches than Jessika has on the Hannibal TV, but if each of you could say one match that is posted on this channel right now that people should look up, what would it be for each of you?
For me, I'll say two opponents. I'll say there's my Vanessa Craven match. I'm happy that I finally got the opportunity to face her. It was a long time coming, so I'm very happy that GNW gave me that opportunity. And she gave me a good fight. And also my match against Stacy Thibault. She's a longtime rival nemesis of mine, and she deserves the props to always bring the best out of me.
I'd have to say pretty much any of my matches with Hannibal, and not just because he runs this channel, but if you really want to see Jeremy Prophet on another level, those matches. Some of the most hard-hitting matches in the entire country. I would put those matches up against any kind of hard-hitting match in the world. You can watch our triple threat, me, Hannibal, and Giant Darko. You can watch any of the matches Hannibal and I have done. They're legendary. If you haven't seen them by now, then shame on you. You should not be watching this channel if you haven't seen those.
That was a very painful match. Those were all bad memories for me. I don't know if we're going to clash again. Who knows down the road? I know Jeremy Prophet, you are on Twitter at Jeremy Prophet. I don't know if Jessika Black's on Twitter, but what's your social media?
I am. It would be Jessika Black Iron, and on Instagram, Twitter, and Jessika Black on Facebook.
I'd actually say it'd probably be better to find me on Facebook. I'm not too much of an aficionado when it comes to Twitter. There is an at Jeremy Prophet. I think I have one under Black Dynamite also, at Black Dynamite. But you can just find me under my real name, under Jeremy Barnoff on Facebook. Yeah, feel free to hit me up. I add most people, and I do think most of the people that add me as friends on there come from the Hannibal TV. The same ones that probably like to insult me on my commentaries of incidents like the Terry Funk one, although I still find that funny as hell.
And last fan question I'll ask for tonight is, someone had a good question on here. Out of all the star wrestlers you guys have met in your careers, could you name one that exceeded your expectations and another that let your expectations down?
That's easy for me. I had the opportunity to wrestle Sarai Knight, and she...
Paige's mother, for those who don't know.
Yeah, so Paige's mother, Sarai Knight, and it was a great experience in the sense that she brought the fight to me, yet I feel I earned her respect after, and she respected me after the great match that we had, and it was nice to just be able to share the ring with her and live in her, learn from her experience.
You know, I've faced tons of people that you consider stars. I've faced half the Hall of Fame wing of the WWE at this point. So I won't really talk from an in-ring standpoint. But in terms of meeting people, I know that when I was a lot younger, I must have been maybe 12 or 13, I met Molly Holly, and I thought that she was very exceptionally nice to me. I know this is probably uncharacteristic to hear because you guys are used to seeing Jeremy Prophet be braggadocious and all. But if I can be, a little real with you guys, yeah, it was appreciated when I was younger, and I wrote a letter to her at WWE, and she actually took the time to personally write a letter, not an email, but an actual letter. Yeah, they did exist when I was younger, and I always appreciated that. And also, I had the chance to work on a show in Rhode Island for a promotion called XWA, a fantastic promotion. They do some incredible shows still to this day. And I got the chance to meet Shane Helms, Hurricane. And this was someone that I really looked up to when I was younger, even dressed up as Hurricane, going to shows and stuff. And it was kind of one of those things where you're not too sure when you're meeting someone that you were a pretty big fan of. And having met him, he was just exceptionally nice to me, and he even told a story about how he had met the Rock and Roll Express when he was probably about the same age, and he was such a big fan of them, and we kind of bonded over that because he was a little shy in meeting them, and now me meeting him was kind of almost the same thing, just that same generational gap. So I'd have to say those two were two of my best experiences. I think they also asked for worst experiences. I don't know if you had a bad experience. I know maybe we don't want to bury people here on social media. Everyone's got fans.
We've all heard the Coco Beware story that people can look up on.
That's my go-to.
That's one of them that was definitely on your bad side. I don't know if that was your worst.
But I can't say Kevin Owens anymore. I know you always ask me about that one. But I think that ship has sailed there. I think I haven't seen him in ages, but I won't go into that one or Sami Zayn. But a bad experience.
I can't say I have one. Honestly, it kind of sucks. I wish I had some heat on something.
I even missed when Tony Atlas cursed out Yasmine in the locker room. I missed that, and I have a lot of respect for Tony Atlas. So, he was probably in the right. But anyways, if you can think of somebody, I'm trying to think.
I think with Tony Atlas, he was cranky that day because it was like a 3-hour drive from the airport, and there was traffic, so there was an extra 2-hour drive to the show, and he'd been up since 5 a.m. and Yasmine had already been in his dressing room and made it hers. He didn't realize it, so when she walked in when he was changing or whatever, that's what caused the fit. So it was a misunderstanding.
No, we got there late, but I missed. Were you with me?
I know he was also cranky because they didn't sell a particular form of chicken wings in that town that he likes.
I say about cranky, honky tonk man. I didn't understand anything he said when I met him, and I was just smiling and nodding. That wasn't a bad experience.
What a match we had, though.
It was a great match, but I was very.
What a match that was. You can see that match on the Hannibal TV where I teamed with the honky tonk man.
Yes.
We entertained the people. What a match.
I just didn't understand anything.
Fantastic.
All right, so to close this off, everyone watching, I will post a high-quality version of this. This is just a cell phone footage so I can get the questions from you guys. But August 10th in Petawawa in the Ottawa Valley, if people want to see it, they're both going to be on the cards. And then again, they're both going to be there. Win or lose in Petawawa, October 20th in Ottawa. More information on both of those events at thehannibaltv.com. Any closing remarks about that?
If you're in the Ottawa area, the Petawawa area, those are two great shows you should check out. That's August 10th in Petawawa and October 20th. I got it. And October 20th in Ottawa.
With Davey Boy Smith Jr. fighting the winner of you against Bamber and me against Haku.
Which I'm pretty confident is going to be me, so you're going to get to see a high-quality match between two exceptional performers in me and Davey Boy Smith Jr. And since I'm very confident you're going to retain against What's-Her-Face, then you're going to be seeing you probably defending the title against Yasmine unless she, injures herself again or just decides to pull out of the match, whichever one she decides. But
first in Petawawa, come see me beat up Melanie Havoc.
That's
and
right.
Then second in Ottawa, come see me beat up Lady Yasmine. It'll be interesting.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And speaking of Davey Boy Smith Jr., that reminds me, you were actually supposed to wrestle him in Great North Wrestling not too long ago, but you hurt your back wrestling him the night before in some other town. I forget where it was, but do you hold any animosity towards him hurting your back in a match?
Well, I mean, it's a match. How much animosity can you hold against someone? Do you hold animosity against me for all the bumps and bruises you sustained? I don't hold any against you. It's a
Only
fight.
sometimes when I rewatch them.
When it comes down to it, it's the fight game. These kinds of things are going to happen. So no, I don't hold any personal animosity, but that doesn't mean that I'm not looking forward to getting my hands on him and being able to give him a receipt, as we like to say. So I know it's going to be a hard-hitting contest when I step in there with him, and I think I'm going to be the one doing the hits, not taking the hits.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.